international travel will begin and resume from the 27th of March. Remember, this was, in fact, there were air bubbles which had been put into place for flights, for international flights, but now that is going to be, that won't be there anymore. There will be normal international travel, which will resume from the 27th of March. Remember, this decision was supposed to come into being several months ago, but it kept getting postponed. Finally, now the date is here for when the scheduled commercial international passenger services will resume from the 27th of March. This is the notification that's coming from the DGCA at this point in time, which had suspended the operations of scheduled international commercial flights to and from India back in 2020 when the pandemic broke out. Now, of course, almost 2 years later is when we are seeing this entire the international flights coming back and resuming the way it was. Those are the details here at this point in time. In fact, we will try and get in some more perspective here, but for now, these are the latest details coming in. International operations, of course, will be subject to adherence of whatever the health ministry guidelines are for international travel, and all of that protocol will be followed. And Hina is in fact with us for more details. Hina, this was supposed to happen several months ago, in fact, but for various reasons it kept getting postponed. Now the date is here when international travel is going to resume on a full-fledged basis.
Well, absolutely. It's a good news for people who were looking to travel during the summer vacation specifically, because the government of India has decided to resume normal international air travel from 27th of March. So it's a very good news that we've got today. And this is in consultation with Ministry of Health, that the Ministry of Civil Aviation has finally taken this big decision today. So from 27th of March, in fact, normal international air travel will begin. What this simply means is that as of now, as India has bubble arrangements with about 35 odd countries wherein international air travel is happening, but via a bubble arrangement, only a limited number of flights are allowed between India and the specific country with which it has a bubble arrangement during the day. Now, that arrangement is going to continue only till 6th of March, and from 27th onwards, regular flights will be there. So what the life used to be before March 2020, as far as international air travel is concerned, that's going to be back from 27th of March. So definitely it's a big news for the aviation sector. You're right when you say that government was looking to open up the normal international air travel earlier as well, but it got postponed. Remember, on 15th of December, government had planned to take this particular step, but then Omicron-led third wave disrupted the plans of the government, and now the government has finally decided that, given the way our vaccination rate is going up, case count is coming down across the country, as things are looking slightly better, so maybe this is the right time to resume normal international air travel as well. Apart from this, if need be, then the government will intervene again. So as long as we do not see another wave of COVID pandemic, normal air travel will begin from 27th of March and will be continuing. So people who've been looking to go to some international locations, destinations this summer season, then clearly it's a good news for them.
Yes, absolutely, Hina. I'm sure a lot of people are extremely excited that indeed this date has in fact come just ahead of summer vacations. But like you pointed out, there is always a caveat of another wave. The similar kind of discussion happened even after the first wave was done, after the second wave was done, and every time we saw another wave. So obviously that is an important caveat. But as well, as far as the entire your protocol is concerned, that is also going to be important, as it will be decided on a periodic basis based on the health ministry's guidelines as well.
Well, absolutely. And that's the reason why this decision has been taken in consultation with people in the Ministry of Health, which simply means that even though normal international air travel will be resuming from 27th of March, you will have to follow the guidelines that will be now coming out. For example, wearing of masks will be mandatory. Your double vaccination certificate is something that you will also have to keep with you in your mobile or as a printout. So those kind of requirements will be now coming out, because remember, here India may have its own set of rules for international air travelers, but the destination country where you are traveling to might have different set of requirements for people coming in from India. So on the basis of all those issues, final guidelines are going to be prepared, which the passengers will have to follow. But for now, it's a good news for the people who've been looking to travel abroad and for the aviation sector as well, because financially things have not been very good for the airlines because of the spike in crude oil prices, as a result spike in jet fuel prices over the last few weeks. So definitely good news, and we'll see now how soon we get the guidelines as well that the passengers will have to follow.
Yes, Hina, and in fact, while of course it is good news, there is a bit of a dark cloud, because as a result of what's happening in Ukraine and Russia's invasion of Ukraine as well, we've seen the flight tickets also see a massive spike. The other factor, of course, like you pointed out, was oil as well. So while it is good news for the aviation sector and for people who want to travel, that could be a bit of a dampener, because tickets have really spiked in terms of the prices.
Well, yes, you've raised a very valid concern. And, because under the bubble arrangement, since the number of flights is limited, so there is a demand-supply mismatch, which is leading to surge in fares as well. And that is something that we have already witnessed in several countries. The way evacuation process was taking place just before that. Remember, so many people were writing on social media that they've been wanting to come back, but the prices of tickets were way too high. It's because the number of flights that were operating under the bubble arrangement was very less. But now, as the normal international air travel begins, people will have more options, when they want to fly to international destinations. The number of flights will be higher, and hence the expectation is that this is going to bring down the fares too. So that is something that we can now hope for. But again, the surge in Brent crude price could be a dampener, because that will have a direct impact on the jet fuel price for airlines, and that constitutes around 40 to 45% of our ticket cost. So if the surge continues the way it is happening right now, then definitely airfare could be a concern, and we'll see how government will have to really look into this particular matter. But as of now, the hope is that with the increase in number of flights to international destinations, with the resumption of normal international air travel, hopefully the airfares will be coming down.
Absolutely, Hina. Thank you so much for joining us with all of those details and all of that perspective. This is the big news coming in at this point in time. Let's bring in another voice here. Subhash Goel, Stick Travel Group Aviation, is joining us here on the broadcast. Thank you very much for speaking to us here on Mirror Now. Your first reaction, because this is a decision that has, been postponed several times, and now hopefully this is the final time when the entire international flights will resume to its normal schedule.
I'm delighted by this announcement. The entire tourism industry of the country is delighted, and I'm confident that this will result in some of the jobs which have been lost to be reinstated, and the economy of the country will develop fast. In 2019, we had 20 billion people, about $30 billion dollars in foreign exchange, and we hope that in the coming years this amount should be doubled.
Okay.
So
right.
This is music to our ears, and the small tour operators, the tourist taxi drivers, the tourist guides who have been suffering for such a long time, they will be benefited. There are a lot of people wanting to come from African countries for medical tourism, and they will also be benefited. And airfares, an airfare which was supposed to be 50,000 rupees, is being sold at 2 lakh rupees. So I think if the supply will increase, I think it will be of immense benefit.
Right. That was in fact going to be my question, Mr. Goel, in terms of the airfares that we are seeing right now are extremely high, and obviously adding to it is the rise in oil prices also that we are seeing globally as well. How long do you think it will take for the prices to normalize? Because obviously at this point in time, every person who wants to travel wants to know about when the fares will come down.
I think within the next 20 days, I think in the summer schedule, we hope that the fares will come down substantially, starting from April.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good news for all those travel buffs who are looking forward. Thank you very much, Mr. Goel, for joining us with your perspective.